Hi, good evening. Welcome to the IS-285 Week 1 Live Office Hour. My name is Brian Orr. I'll be your professor for this term for IS-285. It's about almost 5:50 right now. This live office hour starts at 5:30 Eastern Time, so that's 4:30 Central Time each week. I'm getting started just a little late here for two reasons. One, I was waiting to see if anyone would show up and if, to ask any questions or anything. And the other reason is I had gone ahead and gotten started and was recording and realized that the recording software I was using, I didn't have my microphone activated, so it's not very helpful. So anyway, I'm starting over here, and again, no one has joined our live office hour here this evening, so at this point I'm guessing no one will, but I'm still going to take the opportunity to kind of walk you through some basics about the course. And a lot of this information is already in the welcome video that's posted in the announcements section, but I'll just kind of highlight some of the more important things here. And then if anyone does happen to join us, I'll stop to answer any questions. But again, I'm not expecting to see anyone at this point. So, okay, so let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is our home page for IS-285 Routers and Switches 1. Of course, we're in summer term A, 2021. And this landing page just kind of gives you some brief information about the course, a course description, some information about how this fits into the program outcomes, and then you have your course objectives and the grading policy. And then here's the full syllabus if you want to open that up and take a look at that and maybe print that off. That can just be a useful guide as you're going through the course. Here's online, here's kind of the short syllabus. This just gives you your weekly assignments and when they have to be submitted by. Of course, each week you'll have your Unit 1 initial discussion post that's due by Wednesday night, and then everything else will be due by Sunday. And so you can see here in Unit 1 you've got your initial post, which was due yesterday, and then your Unit 1 assignment and your exam assignment, which is the modules 1 through 3 exam in the Cisco Academy, and those two are due by this Sunday. And then the rest of this is just a continued breakdown of what you have to submit each week. So as you can see, every week's pretty much the same. You've got your weekly discussion, an assignment, and then an exam. Moving on to the announcement section here. This first announcement is about Packet Tracer, so if you have some questions about Packet Tracer and getting started with it, this can help you out. Kind of the same thing here with regard to the Cisco Networking Academy and getting set up there, getting your account set up and getting access to the course. That's what this announcement's about. This third announcement is the Herzing University late policy. This is specific to the entire university, not specific to this course. So keep in mind that I do enforce this policy. Basically, if you have some type of extenuating circumstance that comes up that's going to require you to submit your work late, you can send me a course message or an email asking if it's okay to submit your work a little late, and as long as you know that you've got a valid reason for doing so, like maybe an upcoming medical appointment or having to go out of town for work, or something along those lines. Generally I will work with you on that sort of thing, but for the most part I expect that everyone will complete their assignments and submit them by the due date. As far as the remaining announcements, this is just a quick welcome to the course. Here's the video that I was talking about, the welcome video. You want to make sure that you take a look at this. I introduce you to a lot of the basics that you need to get started in the course, so you'll definitely want to look at that. And then this last announcement was about the office hour, my live office hour this evening. Again, that's 4:30 to 5:30 Central Time every Thursday evening. Okay, so each week what you'll want to do is come into this module section. The first week you've got this kind of introductory section to go through, and then you'll jump into Unit 1. These modules each week, if you go to the introduction page, it kind of gives you just a brief recap or summary of what it is you're doing that week. You got to register for the Cisco Academy account and get access to your course. Verify you can get into NetLab, participate in the weekly discussion. And then we're going to be completing modules 1 through 3 in the Cisco Academy, and then you'll be completing the quiz or exam on that. So probably what I would suggest each week is just kind of come through, start out by going through these modules. They will just introduce you to the topics for the week. And so this is all pretty quick here in Canvas. The majority of what you'll be accessing and spending time with as far as learning materials will be on the Cisco Academy, and we'll take a look at that here in just a second. Of course, here's our discussion for the week. Again, that's due, your initial post is due by Wednesday night each week. And then the next page here is your Unit 1 assignment. I do want to take just a minute to walk you through the assignment instructions. This is extremely important. You have to follow these instructions when you submit your assignment. If you do not follow these instructions, then it's entirely possible that I may not accept your assignment. Just kind of depends on how bad it is, and whether I can, get access to what I need to be able to grade your work. But it's important that you follow these steps so that I can get access to what I need and can, grade your work for the week. So what you'll do each week is you'll start out by creating a Word document, and you'll name it according to how it says here. And this document you're going to use for any screenshots and any answers to any assigned questions. Keep in mind, every lab has questions for you to complete as you're going through. You should do those all the time. However, you only have to submit that if it's specifically asked for in the assignment instructions. Okay, so after creating your Word document to get it ready to go for the week, the next thing that it mentions here is you'll complete the lab on slide 193, and that's in the Cisco Academy. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And for this lab, you just have to copy the 4 reflection questions from the end of the lab into your Word document and answer them. And be sure to clearly label your work so that I know what's what. And so that's all you have to do for that lab. The next step here is to download and complete Packet Tracer labs on slides 255, 276, and 291. And next it mentions to be sure to save your completed Packet Tracer activity files to your computer, and do not, this is extremely important, do not change the file extensions. The file extensions when you download these activities are going to be most of the time .pka, and you need to leave it like that. Otherwise, I won't be able to grade it. I won't be able to see your work, then you won't get any credit for your work at that point. So make sure you do not change the file extensions. For each Packet Tracer lab, at the bottom of the window with the lab instructions, and that's inside of Packet Tracer, you'll want to click on the Check Results button. Then click on the Assessment Items tab and get a screenshot of that tab. Okay, the assessment items and all of the scoring information should be visible in your screenshot. And you're going to paste all 3 screenshots into your Word document and label them clearly. So in other words, there's going to be a screenshot for 255, another one for 276, and another one for 291. And again, we'll take a look at this in just a minute, show you exactly what I'm talking about there. Okay, next you have to complete the packet tracer activity on slide 355. For this activity, all that you'll do is you'll copy the 2 challenge questions at the end of the activity into your Word document and you'll answer them. And that's it for that. Okay, so next it says to upload your completed Word document to Canvas. So of course that will have your screenshots from these 3 labs, and it'll have your questions from lab 193 and your questions from 355. Next, and this is extremely important, you will upload your completed packet tracer files for 255, 276, and 291. That's these 3 labs that you're doing up here. You want to double check to make sure that you include all the packet tracer files that are required for this assignment, which again are these 3 labs. So at the end of the instructions, it'll kind of give you a quick summary of what you should be uploading. So in total, you should be uploading 1 Word document with everything required in that, and then 3 completed packet tracer files. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. So the first thing that the assignment instructions mentioned was completing the slide, or the lab on slide 1.3. So what we're going to do here, let's see, I've got to log back into the Cisco Academy. My login timed out. Okay. And I just realized I didn't have this window over in my recording. I'm sorry. Hopefully you were following along on the Units 1 Assignment 1 instructions, but this is what I was reading and going through just a second ago, where you're completing the lab on slide 193 and answering the questions, then completing these 3 labs. Notice you don't have to turn in any of the answers to the questions there. You're just turning in the completed lab activity itself. Then here's the second lab where you've got questions to do, and then here's the information about uploading your Word document and your packet tracer files and all that stuff. Okay, again, sorry I had that off on my other monitor. Okay, so anyway, let's go back. And what I want to look at here is I need to pull up the Cisco Academy again. Okay, so when you log into the Cisco Academy, this is going to be the kind of the landing page that you're going to come to, and here you see our course for this term. It's IS-285 2021 Summer Term A. I'm going to click on Launch Course, and it's making me log in again. Okay, so once you come into the course, the course learning materials can be found down here, and they've kind of changed this a little bit from previous courses, but if you scroll down to modules 1 through 3 and look in that section, here you'll see a link for the modules 1 through 3 course content. So we're going to click on that, and this will actually give you access to the course content. Notice that you actually have access to all the chapters here, not just 1 through 3. So each week, when you come into the Cisco Academy, you're going to want to go through all of the modules here. So you'll just go slide by slide. You'll scroll down each page. When you get to the bottom, you'll click on the arrow to move on to the next one. And you'll just keep progressing through until you complete the entire module, and you'll want to do any of the activities and things that are included in these modules. But going back to, I'll make sure no one's joined our Zoom meeting. Okay. Going back to our course in Canvas, bring that back up here. Okay, so the first lab to complete was Lab 193. I'm going to add this up here, that way we can get to it a little easier. Okay, so if we go to slide 193, here's the lab that it's talking about. So what you'll do is you'll come here and you'll click on this link to open up the lab, and you will complete the assigned questions there. Now, for the most part in this course, when you're coming in to do a lab, you're going to be doing a switch and or router configuration, and you're going to be using Packet Tracer for that. So let's take a look at one of those. If we go back to our course in Canvas, and we can see here that we had 3 Packet Tracer labs that were assigned to us, and the first one is 255. So if we go into Module 2, 5 and look for slide 255, here is that Packet Tracer activity, and I'm going to walk you through the steps here of what I was talking about earlier as far as making sure that you save your file and don't change the file extension and all that kind of thing. So this Packet Tracer lab is on configuring initial switch settings. This first link is a PDF version of the lab instructions, but you will also find the lab instructions in Packet Tracer, and in order to, and then that's where you have to complete the lab as well. So in order to download the Packet Tracer activity, you click on this second link here for the lab. Once you click on that, you'll notice that it will open up in Packet Tracer. And let me slide this over. Notice it's prompting me to log in again. And this is their Packet Tracer security, verifying that you're supposed to have access to Packet Tracer. Okay, and I'm going to drag these other windows over here. Well, it won't let me right now. Let's see, let me change. Let's see, I can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to start out by just showing you this window. This window in some labs pops up in the background and you end up not seeing it at first. So if you come into a Packet Tracer activity and you're clicking on things and it's just beeping at you like it's doing to me right now and it's not doing anything, this window is probably open somewhere behind another window, and you just need to get to it and click cancel. Okay, and once you click cancel, then you can deal with the other windows. So this is the Packet Tracer lab for 255. Notice this first window here, which we can maximize if we want to. It has the step-by-step lab instructions, and you'll just start at the very beginning and work your way through step by step, just doing exactly what it tells you to do. As far as these questions here, again, they are not assigned to you, so you don't have to turn those in, but I would suggest that you kind of think your way through those as you're going through the lab so that you can, you know, actually get a handle on what it is that you're learning. So what I suggest that you do each time that you open up a Packet Tracer lab is go ahead and save it before you start doing any work. So you'll come up to File and click Save As. You'll leave the Packet Tracer extension alone, .pka. That needs to stay the same. And you can just change the name of the file if you want to, or you can just leave it the way that it is. That's fine as well. pick the location where you want to save it. I'm just going to leave it here, but click save, and notice I've already saved that one before, but I'll go ahead and override it. So at this point I have the lab saved. Now as you're completing the various activities, the various steps, I guess I should say, in the lab, every now and then you just probably want to go ahead and click save to save your work. And then when you're done with the lab, there's a couple of things you need to do. Remember, you need to get the screenshot for your Word document, and then you need to save your packet tracer file. So as far as the screenshot for your Word document, here's the Check Results tab that I was talking about earlier. You'll click on that. You'll click on the Assessment Items tab, and this is what you want to get a screenshot of. If you have completed all of the assigned steps in the lab, you'll have green check marks here. And if you see a red X, like you see on these here right now, that either means that you didn't complete that part of the lab or you did it incorrectly. My suggestion each week is that when you're completing your assignment, if you come to this section, you think you've got it all done, you click on the assessment items. If you see a red X anywhere, go back and correct it. This is your opportunity to learn and fix whatever you did wrong, or maybe you just skipped something and forgot about it, or whatever. But go ahead and go back and correct it before you turn it in. There's no point in losing points on something when you've got the opportunity to go back and fix it. So this needs to be visible in your screenshot, along with, and this is the most well, it's all important, but this is, I guess, slightly more important. I need to be able to see your score information over here. So get a screenshot of all of this. One thing you can do is use the snipping tool, or however you want to do it, and just get a screenshot and paste that into your Word document. Okay, and after you've got your screenshot, then you'll want to save your completed packet tracer file. So at this point, you'll just click File and Save, and then you'll upload that completed packet tracer activity file to Canvas by the end of the week. Remember, don't mess with the .pka extension. Leave that file extension exactly as it is. If you change that, then the activity is not going to store your work. You'll lose whatever work you do, and you won't be able to get any credit for it. Okay, so that's 255. Going back to Canvas, you're also assigned the lab on 276. So if we go to 276, there's that lab, and then the lab on 291, and 291. And here you see that's lab 291, which is a basic switch and end device configuration. So those are the 3 configuration labs that you have this week. The other 2 labs are just answering questions, doing the lab activity and answering questions, but there's no device configuration, no router or switch configuration involved in those 2. If you look at the other assignments in the following weeks, you'll see it's all kind of the exact same thing, except for one slight difference that you run into for the first time in week 2. There are a few activities throughout the course that were designed for you to complete either in a real lab environment or in NetLab, which is kind of like a simulated lab environment that's more real than Packet Tracer, but still simulated. When you complete that, or when you're doing those activities, you got to do things a little different. So, looking at Unit 2, Assignment 1. You've got your Word document to create. Then next it says download and complete Packet Tracer labs on 465 and 471. So those are 2 Packet Tracer labs similar to the 3 that we looked at from week 1. here's where you run into the difference I was talking about. The lab on slide 727 doesn't have a packet tracer activity file associated with it. This lab, again, was designed to do outside of packet tracer, but since we don't have access to NetLab this term, we are going to have to do this in packet tracer. So what you'll do is you'll essentially, when you have one like this on any given week, is you'll create the lab activity in packet tracer and then complete it there. And so here's step-by-step instructions on kind of how to do that. And so you'll just follow those instructions. And here I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about. I'm going to just open up packet tracer, and I'm just opening up packet tracer on my computer. I'm not opening up an activity or anything. I want to make sure I open up the well, it looks like I've lost some of anyway. No packet tracers on here. Let's see. Let's just try this. I'm not seeing packet tracer in my list of programs for some reason. Gotta love Windows. It's just not showing up as an app. Okay, well, let's go to Program Files. Cisco Packet Tracer. Huh. Okay, well, we may do a quick download, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. Let's look here. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Let's look at, I'm going to go, and this is good anyway, show you where you can get this. If you get out of the, or come back to the main course page, if you go up to resources, you'll see a link here for packet tracer resources. And here's a link for the packet tracer download page. And what I want is the 64-bit Windows version. And I'm going to reinstall. Windows has obviously done something to my packet tracer installation. It's opening up packet tracer files, but the application itself is not showing up anywhere. Okay, so of course we've got to accept the license agreement. I'll go ahead and create a desktop shortcut. In case it decides to disappear from my start menu again. Maybe that'll be helpful. Okay, well, things are not cooperating. I think I'm going to have to do a restart. I don't know what's going on with Windows here. Let's see if I've got another way to open up. I'll tell you what. I've got a virtual machine that I can open it up on. Let's try that. There we go. Notice how the app shows up here. That's how it should show up, and for some reason it was not showing up on my main computer. So anyway, okay, so here's prompted me to log into the Cisco Academy again. Must have typed. I know I typed email in wrong. Go back. Okay, hopefully that's got it this time. So anyway, what I was trying to demonstrate here is that we can just open up Packet Tracer without opening up an activity, and let's see. Sorry, I can't get this full screen in the recording here. But if you scroll down here, look in the bottom left-hand corner, you see all the devices. So, you know, say in some particular lab, we've got a router we need to configure. You click on the router, and then you come down here and click on the model that you want. And I think most of the time you're going to be choosing the 1941. Switches, you'll always choose the 2960. And then for end devices, you can click here and just add a PC. So you've got all these things that you can add here to create your lab environment. So that's how you'll do these types of labs where there is no Packet Tracer activity set up for you. Is you'll come in and you'll set the lab up according to the topology that is in the lab instructions. And so, for instance, if you had a lab with these three devices, the last thing that you would need to do is to connect them. And this one here, as you can see, it tells you down here what it is as you're hovering over it. That's a copper straight through, so that's what I need to connect my PC to my switch. And you'll want to look in the lab instructions, you know, for any given lab and see, okay, which switch port does the lab tell me to connect to, because it may not be the first one. It may be, you know, this Fast Ethernet 6 or something. And then same deal, we need to connect the switch to the router. You want to make sure you've got the right interface on both devices, and voila, they're now connected. One thing to keep in mind, and you will have a lab like this coming up, if you have just a router and a PC, these two devices aren't normally connected to each other. Normally you go through a switch, right? And because these aren't normally connected to each other, we need to use a crossover cable. And so just keep that in mind. If you run into one of these labs, you'll need to make sure you use a crossover cable. So anyway, again, you'll just create whatever lab topology there is, and then you'll complete the configurations. You'll save your Packet Tracer file just like normal. File, save as. In this case, you'll leave the .pkt. You'll leave that extension. You'll name your file. You'll click save. and you'll submit your completed activity file. Oops, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so so going back to Canvas here, again, what we were looking at was the Unit 2 Assignment 1 instructions, just to introduce you to this lab here where you have to create your own lab topology in Packet Tracer. Looks like you're doing the same thing with Lab 737, so you've got a couple of those in week 2, so just keep that in mind. And that pretty well covers all the different scenarios that you'll run into as far as the lab assignments. So the final thing that I want to point out to you here is when it comes time to complete your exam for the week, you'll want to launch the course. To get access to that exam, you'll scroll down. Here you see the modules 1 through 3 exam. You'll just click on that link, and that's how you'll access and start that exam. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to cover at this point. If you run into any questions, chances are they are answered in the welcome video or in this video here. But if you do run into any questions that you can't seem to find the answer to, don't hesitate to reach out. Just shoot me a Canvas course message or an email, and I'll get back with you.